Okay.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to today's presentation, The Hidden Magic Inside Your iPhone. My name is Tina, and welcome on behalf of the Gardens of Town Square. Before we get started with our main event, I would like to share just a little bit about the Gardens of Town Square. So the Gardens is one of 8 premier retirement communities locally owned and operated by Era Living, who have been around for 34 years. So the Gardens is a beautiful community offering independent living services as well as assisted living services, which you can add staying in your same apartment. You don't have to move to another area of the building to add assisted living services because we offer flexible licensing throughout our communities. We have about 132 independent or assisted living apartments, as well as 26 private apartments in the terraces, which is our secured memory care neighborhood. You know, if you get a chance to chat with Joan, ask them about the heart and soul of our memory care program, which is our best friends approach to care. And the best friends approach to care is basically just based on the notion that what a person with dementia really needs most is a best friend. A little bit more about the Gardens. They are conveniently located in Bellevue, just steps away from favorites like the French restaurant, the French bakery, Cilo's Mexican restaurant, the shops at the Bravern, the Bellevue Public Library, and they're just a few minutes from Bellevue Square, as well as Overlake and Kaiser Medical Centers there in Bellevue. The Gardens is known for its independent and vibrancy, and our relationship with the University of Washington and our lifelong learning programs, which is true throughout all Era Living communities. The Gardens is also very warm and hospitable and is known for lovely amenities, including a bright and cheerful dining venue, plus a serene private courtyard, which is kind of their little oasis there in the city. If you would like to learn more about the Gardens of Town Square, we would welcome your call. You can give us a call at 425-688-1900, and Joan and Levy would be happy to offer you a tour of a studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or even a 3-bedroom apartment. So that's a little bit about the Gardens, and thank you for your patience. And now on to our main event. It is my great pleasure to turn it over to Bridget Agabra, who provides compassionate training for all things digital for seniors and for the tech uncomfortable through her local company, gentletechhelp.com. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and Bridget can take it away. Let me just.
Oops. Thank you so much, Tina, as you're doing that. Thank you so much. I really enjoy that the Gardens has such a bright lobby. There's such a bright interior. It's just like it's elegant and bright and uplifting. I really like that. Well, thank you all for being here, especially on such a gorgeous day. And I am looking forward to telling you all kinds of things about your iPhone. You know, we spend a lot of money to get these expensive devices. And sometimes if you just use it for a phone or texting, you're missing some things that you might not know about. And so I'm hoping today that you will learn about some new things that you might not have known on it, or maybe just some new ways to use things that are already on it. There's going to be a ton of information. There's going to be a lot of information. I'm talking quickly because there's going to be a lot of information. But I'm also going to make sure that you get notes. I'm going to send to Tina, and she'll make sure that the people who registered today get notes that I've done referring to everything that I'm talking about. So telling you, go here, click this, do that. So you'll have very specific instructions for things. So I will try to go at the right speed. There's just so much to share. So I am also going to flip my screen around a little bit. I won't see all of you, but I do like seeing some folks. So thank you so much for those of you who have your camera on. It's so much better to know that everybody isn't just asleep or, you know, like playing solitaire or something. All right, so you guys can see my little slide here, and you can see my slide. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because I love that people say, I had no idea this was in my phone. So in addition to the notes, and I'm going to be showing you what I call like a live field trip. We're going to be on my phone rather than just looking at static slides. So you're going to be on my phone. If this was a longer experience, you'd be able to follow along on your own phone, but I'm going to ask you to not follow along really on this because I want you to catch everything that I'm doing on the screen. Like I said, there'll be lots of notes. So one thing to note is that all iPhones are a little bit different from each other. Almost everything that we're going to talk about today is going to be on almost all iPhones. But if you have something maybe a 6 or earlier, or if your iPhone is not running the operating system iOS 15, which is the software that runs it, and that came out last fall. I mean, if you have a reasonably a phone from maybe the last 3 or 4 years, it definitely would have been updated by now. So I'm going to start out by just showing you where you can find out that information. But just so you know, there are a little bit of differences. So if you have an older phone, you might not
Bridget,
have.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you. I don't see anything on my screen. It's dark. I don't know if it's just my screen or not.
It is just your screen, but if you go down to the bottom of your page, are you on a computer of some kind? Are you on a Mac or a PC computer?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac and I just saw something just a second ago with your face and
Yeah, if you see my face, do you see everybody's faces?
I see him at the top and I saw when I just clicked off mute, it looked like maybe the front page or something came on of the presentation. Right there as I see you.
Do you see me kind of large
Yes.
now?
Yes.
All right. I apologize for being large in everyone's face.
No, thank you.
It's whatever it is. So the important part though, when we get going is not that you see my face. Actually, the important part will be the screen I'll be sharing. So when we do that in a minute, I'll ask you guys to confirm that you can see my screen pretty clearly. So I'm going to start that now, and we're going to hope to see my. So Lori, can you see me now? Yes, you can thumbs up. You can see me now. All right. Usually when people can't see the Zoom screen, it means something else has popped in front of the Zoom screen. So if you somehow can't see the Zoom meeting, usually just go down to the very bottom of your computer on the dock and hover your mouse over the little Zoom icon, and you can usually pop it up. It's usually just something that's popped up in front of it. So give me just a minute to share my iPhone with you, which is so exciting. And here we go. And I'll make sure that everybody in a moment can see the old cemetery in Ireland where my people are. Can everybody see the purple flowers and the grass? So that's great. I'm going to, I have so many things to be able to move around. So let's see, I can see Richard and I can see somebody who has just changed their name to iPad. And you guys, and there's Tina, and you guys represent the entire meeting for me. So I hope, so don't fall asleep, okay? All right. Good to go. We can see my phone. So the first thing that I want to review with you is just as a little reminder how you can find out what type of phone you have and what version of software you're running. And that is, and Tina, you're admitting, right? Okay. That is going to the settings, which is the gray gear, tapping on your picture, and then sliding down just a little bit, and you'll see something that says your name and that phone. And when you tap on that, you see I have a lot of devices, you'll see your iPhone model and the software. And so iOS 15, the first numbers are where the big changes happen, right? Is where iOS 14, iOS 15 and 16 will be coming in fall. Those are the big changes And then the numbers that come after that represent smaller incremental changes that they do and updates over the year. Here. So right now we're at 15.4.1. If you're at 15.3 or something, that's fine. If you are not running 15, you're probably not going to see some of the things here. And if you have a more modern phone and not running 15, you definitely want to be running 15. There's a lot of goodies in it, and it's always good to have your security up to date by having your phone updated. And we're going to be going through stuff, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be plenty of time for questions at the end. But like I said, you'll have notes coming. So that's how you find out what phone you have and what version of the software you're running. So the first thing I like to talk about is using your phone for your health and medical information. Using it for your health and medical information because it winds up being almost like a life alert. It can hold your information and have it with you when you go to the doctor. It can have it available for first responders, right? And it can be here if you are in an accident. There are ways that medical folks, the first responders, if you have the settings set up that way, they can get in and see your medical information without knowing your passcode. Because you know how everything on your phone is really locked down, and nobody can get in without those digits, those little 4 digits, or your face, or your thumbprint, or something. Well, you can set it up so your medical ID, your medical information is available without that. So with everything, it's a balance of privacy and benefit, right? So for me, I'm okay if I'm in a car accident. I want them to be able to pick up the phone and swipe it and see my emergency contacts and my medical conditions. Some people may not want that. I found a big, gorgeous iPhone on the street. The beginning of COVID, how many, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, whatever COVID started. On a walk, I found a big phone and they didn't have that enabled. So I couldn't, just get in and call their emergency contact and say, hey, I found your buddy's phone. I had to leave it at the police department. So as we go through this, I'll talk to you about those options. So the medical piece of an iPhone is built in. It's one part of the software that comes with every phone. And it's really, I have to say, set up in a way that's a little clunky and cluttered. So when you explore it, don't feel bad if it looks a little, if it feels a little hard to make your way around. It just needs furniture. It's this little icon that's white with a little red heart. And when I tap on that, it has a lot of different features at the bottom. So I'm tapping here on this basic page, and up in the upper right-hand corner, which I can see, there we go, is my picture. It might just have your initial, it might just have a little gray outline, right? But this means this is my information. I'm going to tap on it, and we're going to be looking at these first two parts, the health details and medical ID. So the health details, when I tap on it, and just so you know, because this is on the internet and it is recorded, I have changed my information. So especially when we get to my weight couldn't possibly be true. So anyway, this information is not my actual information. So here is a page with health details, and up in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to tap the word edit. And when I tap the word edit, it gives me a lot of places where I can put in my name. I just tap my finger in the name place and I can type in my name, date of birth, my sex, my blood type, my Fitzpatrick skin type, which is a medical determination of your skin color. And I once had a doctor in class and I said, I've never been asked that. I've never been asked that. And she said, I'm a doctor. We would never use it. We would never do anything like that. Unless you're like a dermatologist, going to see your dermatologist. So at that point, you can put down whether you normally use a wheelchair. And these are pretty important. This is something that's kind of new. Whether or not you take medications that affect your heart rate, calcium channel blockers, beta blockers, that's information that people should know if they're just monitoring their heart in case of an accident. So on this page, there's not much. The health details have not too much. There's not much here. It's the medical ID that's going to have a lock. So I hit done, and then I hit in the upper left back to here. So now I'm back here. Now we're going to talk about medical ID. That's where all the juicy stuff goes. And this is where I'm going to be able to talk to you about having your emergency contacts and some other permissions. So on this page, when I hit edit, you can put your name, your date of birth, and then you begin to be able to put in your medical conditions, notes, medications. This is the more specific information and blood type and height and language. This is something really lovely. This is something that can come up, if you permit it, that is available with them not having to, unlock your phone. You can put in your emergency contact, which I love. I love that idea. To do it, you tap add emergency contact. I'll pick my downstairs neighbor. I'm not going to add him, but they ask you to put down, some kind of relationship with the person so that the first responders know who they're dealing with. And then it allows you to select their phone number and put it in. So I have both of my sons. And once I do this, my sons show up have this little red star as emergency contacts, even in my regular contact list. So this is great. This is something really helpful. And then the two questions down at the bottom are pretty important. Emergency access, show when locked. What that means is if your phone is locked, and I'm going to have to not look at my phone so it doesn't see my face. Okay, you can see my phone is locked. I'm trying to get in. Doesn't see my face. See the word emergency at the bottom? So if I was somebody who didn't have the code to my phone, if I was a stranger who wandered in and saw Bridget in my room, I could tap medical ID and see the medical ID in the emergency contact. Right. So somebody can see that without knowing your password. And it's up to you to know, to feel your comfort level with that. I like it, but everybody is a little different about that. So now it really wants me to log in. It says, I know you were just messing with me. All right, so that's show when locked. If that's turned on, it allows that emergency button to show up. Second choice is down here is share during emergency call. There are some emergency services, and I assume down in Cupertino where Apple is, where if you call 911 on your phone and the emergency center has the right software, that they can kind of suck your medical information out and make sure that the first responders have it as they're on their way to your house or the accident or whatever. I have no idea if that's enabled in our area, but I turned mine on because what the heck? I don't know. We're a pretty high-tech area as well. So if they have the ability to suck this information out, I'll let them have it. So these two things allow your phone to be like almost like a backup life alert kind of thing. Something else I like to talk about at this point while we are in here is adding the vaccination, your vaccination status here with your medical information. And I'll show you because we're just in this same app. This is that same app with the little heart. This is the health app. And Apple is really pushing to try and have a lot more health things tied into it. You can get blood pressure monitors that can tie into this. Your Apple Watch. Apple Watches now come with a blood oxygen level and an atrial fibrillation tests. So that's pretty cool. And that all goes in your phone. So while we're here in this health app, I want to show you that you can have your, by tapping down here on browse, your vaccination status, your vaccination information can be here. It can also be on this app called the Wallet. The Wallet. And I will give you some real specific instructions how to get it onto your wallet. And actually, I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment because I don't really want all that information on the internet. But when I tap on Wallet, is this right? Let me put my phone. When I tap on Wallet, it's very easy to see my vaccination status now. I don't have to show somebody a picture. I don't have to bring up something else. And it's the only thing I use this wallet for. I just don't use it. So this wallet, which comes on all iPhones, it looks a bit like a wallet. I tap on it. And then here is my vaccination, proof of vaccination. And it includes the QR code that they can scan it in. So the way you do this, it'll be in your notes. You have to contact the state and they send you a little thing that they'll text you a little something. And then you just pop it in under very specific directions. And it goes then into your wallet and into your health app. I find it really handy to be able to just tap wallet and show that in the places that require that. Okay. And I see that there's a question. So I'll get those at the end. So you can add your vaccination status to your wallet and the health at the same time. Once you do it once at the same time. When we think about that emergency situation, I not only have my phone set up so that they can look at the emergency stuff, even if it's locked, but I have my phone set up and I have to use a different word so that I can call out to the digital assistant and have it call emergency services, even if I can't touch the phone, even if I forget my passcode. I have a dear friend who was in a car accident and her car rolled. She wasn't hurt at all, but she was so jumbled when she got out, she couldn't remember the 4 digits of her phone. She couldn't unlock her phone. She didn't get hit on the head, nothing happened, but you know how you just get that adrenaline? So I encourage, if you're comfortable with it, enabling the digital assistant part. I don't want to say the name of this. It goes by a name. I'm going to call it Sarah, but it's not Sarah. Because if I say it out loud, it'll wake up my machine, my watch, my machine on the table, my iPad in the other room, and probably your machines as well. So you can have it set up. So you go, hey, Sarah, call emergency services, or hey, Sarah, call 911. I love that idea because if something happens to me, I'm alone. I don't have to reach over and get my phone. I could be on the floor and I can tell it. So I can tell my phone to call 911, and my phone then also has this information for people. If my phone could get up and unlock the front door for them, I'd like that too. So the instructions on how to enable that, your phone to be listening for those words, which it sound like, hey, Sarah, but it's not really, hey, Sarah. If you use the digital assistant, you'll know what name I'm talking about. So I include instructions in there, and that will allow you to just call out to your phone to have it call 911. Oh. That's medical stuff. Okay. We got that. Questions later. We have a few more now. Things are less intense. I don't think I'm going to be talking about accidents or being stuck on the, not being able to reach the phone. Everything else is kind of fun. Let me make sure. Yes, guaranteed. Everything else is at least slightly fun. Right? This one I love the most. So iPhones have augmented reality rulers and levels in them. So the big carpenter's levels with the bubble, right? Well, it has that. You don't need that anymore. If you have like your great-grandparents one, they're so beautiful, you could put it up on display because now you can just use your phone for that, for the carpenter's level. So let me share with you. It's an app that comes on the phones. This is a little bit more modern, so not every phone will have this. And I'm looking for, is it sharing, is it sharing with you? Let me see. Yes. Okay. It's called measure, and it looks like a ruler right up here. It's called measure. And it has two. That's the one I want. Yes. All right. It has two functions. One is a ruler and one is a level. And I'll show you the level first. I look really blurry. All of a sudden, my camera is real blurry. I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to pretend like this is a painting on my wall that's hung on my wall in a way that's crooked. This is a little painting, badly hung on my wall. There we go, I'm in focus again. So I'm going to tap on this measure app. And on the bottom right, can you see the word level on mine? I tap on level. Now what happens is I put the phone right up so it's lined up with the bottom. There's no sensor there. I don't need to push it. It's just the little gyroscope inside the phone says, oh, that's pretty bad. You can see it's at an angle of 13%. Now I'm going to try and rehang my artwork. It's still off by 1 degree. Hooray. Now, if you're the kind of person, I'm just going to say, I might be this kind of person. Once you have this level that you can go around your house and level all of your paintings, it's pretty fun. Okay. It's just a little bit obsessive and it's really cool because I try and do it myself and then say, okay, now I'll test myself with the phone. So that's the carpenter's level. And you can see it's probably making everybody seasick. The other thing it has is called the ruler. It's called measure. And it's an augmented reality ruler. And I have to move a little bit. And I'm going to turn, I have a painting of a cat right here. It's a print of a cat. So with the measure, I take that little dot that's in the center of that circle and I tap the plus. And now I lift the phone. And tap that. So now I know, oops, I didn't do that very well. 15.5 inches. If I had measured it, you can see there's a little bit there. It's probably 16 if I'd measured it more carefully. So this means that whenever you go somewhere, you've got a ruler in your pocket. Would I use it for carpentry? Would I use it for making furniture? No, it's not that precise, but it is really excellent when you've got like going, how big is the space that the couch might go in? Or how big, if you're out somewhere and you're like, oh, look at this chair, will it fit in this space? So it's actually pretty amazing. So you can take that big 3-foot yardstick that's in the back of the closet, maybe next to the grandfather's level, right? And you can just get rid of that yardstick that you use once every 3 years or something. Right? You've got a ruler and a level. I think it's so much fun. Something else that's not maybe so much fun, but it's pretty practical is you've got a scanner. So it's a scanner that's just like the big scanner you have probably in your office at home, just like that big one. It's actually probably better. It actually probably has a better pixel density than the one in your office. So what you could do is take the scanner, take it away, and put up the carpenter's level. All right, I'm just giving decorating. It's free decorating advice, right? So I'm going to show you how we scan. And why is it important to have a scanner, have something scanned when you could just take a picture of it? A scanned document is saved as a PDF. It's a kind of file that computers recognize as not being, it's like a picture, but it's not a picture. It's usually harder to change something with a PDF. And what's important is when you are uploading forms to kind of government agencies and medical situations, they don't take pictures of things. They don't take something that's a JPEG or a GIF. Those are forms that pictures are in. A PDF is a really specific document form, and lots of places will only take that. But you don't need the big scanner for it. So I have here the back of a medical bill with all of the kind of gibberishy, well, I'm sure it's very important. I'm sure somebody reads all this small things, but it doesn't have any personal information. I'm going to say, what if I needed to make a PDF of that? I'm going to show you how you do that. It's so cool. This thing is just cool that you don't need a scanner anymore. All right. On your iPhone, you see the little app called Notes. Notes. I'm going to tap on Notes. And down at the bottom right is this symbol that means in all kinds of different Apple apps. It's a little box and a pencil. It usually means make a new page, make a new thing. I'm going to tap make a new thing. I'm going to take the camera and tap on the camera. And then I'm going to have to stand up because I'm going to be taking it down at the document. So let me actually move my box of Bisquick, which you'll be seeing in the next segment, and stand up. So you can see that there's a choice, scan document. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it over it. I'm going to try and hold it very still. And then it's going to turn yellow and just take the picture. I don't really have to do anything. Scan document. I'm standing up. See, it turned yellow and it took it. And I'm going to save it. All right. Now that I have this document, I can say, you know, medical. I can save a little note to it. I can tap up at the top and change the name. It took a little guess as to what the name was based on what it saw in it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to rename that test document. Hit save. Hit done. And now I have the option of sharing it, sending it somewhere, doing something with it. And it's a note that exists on my phone, and I can move it around. I can send it away to folks. And I could have done that earlier had I not saved it first. Okay, there it is. A little pointy box and arrow. When I tap that, that means share. I can email it to somebody, email it to myself, share it as a text message. So it's on my phone, but I could email it to myself and open it up on my computer if I wanted to, if you're more comfortable doing some things on your computer. But not everybody knows how to scan. And I think the last thing I'd like to talk about before we open up for some questions is QR codes. So we all got familiar with these QR codes during the pandemic because if you got up to go to a restaurant, they kind of handed you something with this little QR code. You used to have a special reader for this, but now you don't. And in fact, you can try this right now. I'll show you with Bisquick, and then you can try it with my QR code. So Bisquick has a little QR code right here. These are different from those little lines. You know those lines? Those are called UPC codes. Those are just for the grocery stores. A QR code is really just a shortcut to a website. So that means if you're walking in downtown Seattle and you see a big QR code on a utility pole, don't really look at it. I mean, you're going to go to a website. So you want to know where you're going before you get there. If your restaurant hands it to you and says, this is our menu, great. You're going to a web page with your menu. Here, you're going to go to Bisquick. You don't know where you're going to go if you're just kind of walking in the street. It's kind of like you don't walk down a dark alley that you don't know what's on the other side. Yeah, you don't want to use a QR code that just happens to be hanging on to something. So to get this, it's so easy now. You just turn your camera, tap your camera app, point it there, and see the yellow Bisquick? the yellow word Bisquick that shows up. I tap on that and I go to the Bisquick website where I can have recipes. I've looked up this dumpling recipe, by the way, and the dumpling recipe only gives you the recipe for the dumplings, not the, oh, it's not showing, yeah, not the other stuff. So to make the dumplings, it's Bisquick and water, but the other stuff, they just go start with stew. Right? So a QR code is a shortcut to a website. You can use it if realtors are often using it on signs. I think there's marketing material. It just takes you to a website. And if you want to right now, you can turn your camera on and point your camera at this QR code. This QR code. And it should take you to, it's not going to be any place naughty. It takes you to Wikipedia. So if you hold it up, you'll see in the center there, and you tap on Wikipedia, and it'll take you to the webpage. And you can do that. It's pretty cool. Hopefully you have seen some things that you didn't know existed on your phone. I'm going to minimize this and come back to our meeting. Make sure I did the augmented reality, scanning, carpenter's level. Yep, and now we can start, I can start addressing some of our questions. I love questions about these items.
Bridget, if you don't mind, I'll start a question then.
Let me catch the ones in chat first, just real quick. Let me just, can't see the slide. Okay, hopefully you can see the slides now. There, you saw the field trip. Some of my screen details are different, somebody says. It could be, if it was something, if it was slightly different, we could have different models. Phone, you have an Apple on, and that is what shows your blood oxygen level. Yeah, I have an Apple Watch on, and I have the blood oxygen level turned on. In fact, I was not going to have an Apple Watch. I mean, why would you need a watch when you just look at the phone, right, to tell the time? Well, when COVID started, and you kind of live alone, I had it tells me my blood oxygen level anytime I want it, and I can also take in atrial fibrillation that has my heart rate, all kinds of things. So I do have an Apple Watch on. Tina, let us know the name that I will not say out loud that wakes up your phone if it's an iPhone 6 might not have the measure and level, right? It's a certain level gyroscope. It's a hardware thing, not a software. I clicked on the QR code and all I got was a picture of the QE code. It didn't take me to the website. So I don't know what a QE code. Oh, you aren't taking, so for the QR code, you don't tap the shutter button to take the picture. You tap the little yellow phrase that comes up. Let me pop it up again. And that takes you. So you don't take a picture of it. You just take a. There's everything. There we go. Okay. So for the QR code, oh, I need to share. I'm so sorry. There we go. Here's the QR code. So when you point your camera at the QR code, and I'll do it with mine at my own QR code. See the yellow where it says wikipedia.org? See on my camera screen? That's what you would touch. You don't touch you're not touching the, oh my goodness, look at that. It's an infinite loop. So there's a little yellow, this yellow wikipedia.org. That's what's going to take you to the website. That is so fun. I've never seen that before. All right. And I don't have the heart icon, but it shows in my settings. How do I get the icon on my home screen? Ooh, that's a really good question. So, and we have time to answer it, so I love it. Let me see whoever. I just hate it when I can't see anybody. All right, so it's somewhere on the screen. Maybe somebody put it in a folder, maybe somebody hid it or something. So you can use your app library. And what your app library, it's also reasonably new. You just keep swiping your finger to the left until you go past any of the pages. You go past all the pages of icons that you had. You go further than you think, and you're at the app library. Here, app library. And the app library is lovely because you don't have to remember what the icon looks like. You can just tap in the word health. And as I start tapping in the word health, there it is. And if I want, I can hold my finger down and drag it over onto the screen. So if for some reason you didn't have it, it comes with it on there. So you want to really make sure that you do have it, that it isn't there just somewhere and you're not seeing it. That's how you would get it on. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute so I can see everything. Okay. Now I'll take some audio questions.
Okay, this is Rich again.
Hi.
So do you mind answering a question about text? Using text?
I mean, if any, okay, yeah, we got.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. So
I prefer if anybody has questions about this stuff, but yes, I'll answer your questions with somebody else's question.
oh, okay. I don't know if it has to do with the last update, but last year when I sent out text, I would have, just like we see in the chat, the initials and people's names above. Well, when I sent out text, there would be a little circle with their initial and typically with their name. And it seems like this year when I send out information to the same people, that a lot of them cannot see my name because I'll get a message back, who is this? And I don't know if it's a setting or something with the operating system.
So, are you using Google's?
I'm just doing a text message through the phone.
Right, so, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's Google's. So let me make sure. So it's the one.
Yeah, I don't think I'm using Google, but I would know.
Not Google's. Excuse me. So sorry. Yeah, are you using the one that's on here? It's, oops, I don't want to actually share all my text, but it's the one with the green cartoon balloon, the green box with the white cartoon balloon there in the bottom right. That's what you're using. Message. Because there's all kinds of different messages.
Yeah, it's a green. Yeah, it's a green box with white inside with a little oval shape in it.
Did you get a new phone? Did you change phones? Did you change phone plans or carriers or anything?
No, the only thing I've done is updated the software.
No. And your phone, you are logged into Apple? Are you logged in, like when you go to your settings? Are you logged in as you up at the top?
I believe so. I mean, there's yes. I don't have my picture, but yes, it just has RB and
okay.
Apple ID, iCloud.
Is it the same phone number? You only have one phone number?
That's all I have. I'm sorry, where did, oh, yeah, tap on my name.
Yeah. I mean, it has your name and it has your Apple ID. Yeah, that's kind of a really specific fix, but that it wouldn't be the update.
Oh, okay, well, I can give them a call. I just thought, I was hoping it was something simple anyway.
Yeah, well, I bet it is something very simple, but, but that would be me working with you like, as a client. Sort of.
Yeah.
Do you have your own website? GentleTechHelp.com. Yes, looks like a group of people. Well, you're looking at the group of people. This is the group of people. But yeah, I do work with folks all over, not just the Puget Sound area, but remotely now in North Carolina, and New York City, and Florida, and Cathedral City, Palm Springs, people all over the place.
I have the exactly same problem. It never shows my name. I have to sign everything. And I don't know who it's from either unless they write it.
Yeah, are you, so the people you're sending it to, are they in your contact list?
Yes, yes.
You're using the phone number that's associated with your iPhone account and with your phone.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
And I have a 13 Pro Max and the iOS 15.4.1.
yeah, that's going to be a setting somewhere, some setting somewhere. So if you go to your contacts and pick somebody and pick them and message them, they don't see your name.
No. And I don't see their name unless it's a string always coming from the same person back and forth. But yeah, it's kind of what he said, the same issue.
Yeah, without kind of digging into your system and your stuff. It's not really something that you could figure out right like this. Anybody have questions about some of the other things we talked about the health apps?
Where
Or-
did you get home favorites? That's a pull down screen, I'm assuming. And I had most of what you had on, but I don't know how you got, when you were putting in the medical information and all, you had the word home favorites lower down, and I don't know how you got there.
Home favorites.
And you said to say, hey, something, but you wouldn't.
Okay, so I'll tap on, so let's, yeah, this is great. So we had health details and medical ID.
Right, that was clear. Mhm.
And
It looked down, you know how you swipe from the upper right down and it has T-Mobile Wi-Fi or whatever it is, and then it has a lot of icons there and you can make the
this,
screen like, yeah. You have the word there, home favorites. None of that's, most of that is not on mine.
absolutely, and it shouldn't be. That is all my customized stuff. So
Oh, okay. So that, I thought you were
like you
telling us
looked
how to
inside
use it.
my car, yeah, and said, wait a minute, why do you have this kind of, a steering wheel wrap and there's some shoes over there? Yeah, so that's all my stuff. That is
Okay.
not standard stuff. But good, that's a good question. That area is called the control center, and it has the ability to do a lot of stuff. And I think they should get rid of it because it's a weird little hidden spot. But unless you need to use it, don't really worry about it. But if you ever want to get there, you just swipe down from your top right corner. I didn't see
I have
immunization.
a question.
Uh-huh.
I may have missed something, but when you're talking about all the medical information that we're putting in that's very private and personal, is there some way that if someone thief, gets your phone, that they can access that?
Oh yeah, that's the option. That's that switch that you turn on or off. And I talked about the comfort level.
But I mean, if you don't want a thief gets your phone, you don't want them to see this information.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But then the first responders can't see it either. So it's just right here down at the bottom of medical ID. You just say, do I want this stuff to show when the phone is locked? You just say no.
I guess I was wondering if there's a way for medical people to see it, but not strangers. No. Okay.
Yes. I mean, if what you're asking is, you can turn the top part off. So the thing that says show and lock, which means nobody that picks up your phone can do anything with it. But that second thing that I talked about, the thing that I don't know it exists, if the 911 system can get the information, that's separate. You could turn that on, but I have no idea if the 911 stations have that at all. I tried to look that up. No idea. I know that the local ones haven't advertised that at all or talked about it. So it's the good part about having it turned on, if a thief takes it, they've got your medical information and your emergency contacts. They don't have your social security. They can't get into your banking. They can't go anywhere else on the phone. They have your emergency contacts and they have your health information. And it absolutely is a balance, right? And so for each person, that's a different decision about what your comfort level is. And for me, I thought about it, and it's honestly, there's just really nothing anybody can do with my weight and, stuff. So, I mean, I guess they do have your name and your date of birth. So, but that is something to consider.
If you were really worried about it, couldn't you just leave some of that information out? Like if you didn't want someone to have your date of birth, just don't put your date of birth in there.
Yeah, maybe you could just put your year or put January 1st. I mean, it's just balancing. You're just talking to somebody and you don't know whether it's a medical doctor or a thief on your side. So yeah, you could put down information which is close, but it's definitely. So how to add immunizations. I didn't go through the steps because the steps require you going to a website, and it's in your notes. It's a state of Washington website, and you request it. You just have a name and an email address, and you pick a little 4-digit PIN or 4 or 6-digit PIN that you'll use for that. And you get them to text your phone and you follow the steps. So I do include the piece in your notes. It's just, I can only do it once. So, I can't really do it again. The notes will be emailed to you from Tina. So watch your email from Tina. Does it come from Tina Hall or does it come from another email address?
The notes are going to be coming from levy.men@airliving.com or possibly from Joan, but we'll definitely get the notes. We'll also be sending out a survey asking for your feedback on what you thought and also on different presentations for future as well.
Yes, and please do give your responses. We really do take those seriously, and it's very helpful to know, what was easier to understand or what was not. So the immunizations, once you get them on your phone, will be either will be in both. In your wallet, which is this little, yes, it looks like a wallet up near my clock. And it will also be in your health app up here under I browse COVID-19 vaccine. And what you can't do, just in case, I had my shots here and my booster in California, and so far there's no way that the states can combine them. So I guess they're pretty overloaded. So I have something from each state, but I don't have something that says all of them.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah. So
let's see, do we have any other questions? Let's see, where are the notes? We got that. And we'll be sending those out. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. Does anybody else have a question they'd like to ask before we wrap up for today?
I have a question on photos. I'm a PC user. My kids thought I needed the Apple phone. It's a 13. So I'm very frustrated because I use my phone mostly for photos. To try to get them into my PC, if you hold down the photo button just barely at all, it goes to an MOV. And after hours and hours, the only way I could use it so I could find one of the string was to put it through Microsoft Paint and isolate one. Otherwise, it's an MOV with multiple pictures on the photo button, and it's just holding down. It's on the website. People are terribly frustrated. Can I override that?
No, you just need to learn to practice. Just tap that shutter button.
Well, it's happening when I hand it to someone and say, would you take a group photo of us?
Then you tell them, just tap the button. You just
Some of them are 85, 89. Okay, there is no way to override that. Thank you.
You just tap that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. And
And you can't move the cinematic and some of the other over to a PC. So it's a little frustrating because it's two
Sure.
operating systems, but I
Well,
have not,
how are you trying to get your photos onto your PC?
well, I downloaded Google Photos because that's much better. And that's the way I do it.
But where are your?
Oh, I have a cord. I had to buy a separate cord to go from my,
Way easier, let me tell you. So if you have these and they go to iCloud, I mean, you
Yeah.
can have them go directly to Google Drive. You can have Google Photos. on
they
your
do, they go to Google Drive and to Google iCloud, depending. Yeah.
Right, so you don't need a cord. You just on your computer, you just log into iCloud.com and download the pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and same thing with Google Drive.com. You don't need a cord.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you do the recording? Yes, I am sure that Era Living will make sure that you have a link to this and we can do it. You know, sometimes I have to speak really quickly because sometimes there's a lot of questions and so my apologies if it went by a little quickly, but the notes will really, you'll be able to have your notes right there in front of you. You can have your phone, your notes, and do it step by step.
Thank you so much, Bridget. You know, I think this is the third time I have watched this presentation. And every time it's like, oh, now I get it. It clicks in, especially sometimes with the health information, it can be a little complex and I'm trying to follow, okay, where's she going? So I appreciate your walking us through that. And those notes are really very helpful to go back and review. So we'll be sharing those with everybody. And if there are other presentations that you'd like us to bring you that are about some of these tech things, because I know for me, I need this and I'm just so appreciative of Bridget being able to explain things kind of in layman's term rather than tech talk. It's tremendously helpful. So we'd love that feedback. Other than that, does anybody else have any comments, questions before we let you go for the afternoon? No? Well, then we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hope you learned something new today. And you know, keep an eye out for future invites to additional presentations or events. We are very excited that we're starting to very slowly migrate some of our events back into the communities. We're still going very cautiously. If you come to an event at one of our communities, we do request that you're fully vaccinated and that you wear a mask in the community. But it is really exciting to be able to see people as we start to emerge from the shadow of this pandemic that just feels like it's been never ending, right? I will look forward to seeing some of you in future presentations. And Bridget, thank you again. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have fun with your phone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.